there's a journey between self-hatred to self-love. And we don't talk about it as open, probably, nor as often as we're supposed to, because honestly, who really wants to admit that they're not a fan of themselves, you know? But see, some of the things that we do makes it quite obvious that we do not love who we pretend to be. And it's something that gets overlooked because it's very unfiltered, it's very vulnerable, it's very raw. And I mean, who wants to be a spokesperson for that? But if we're gonna be really honest about growing, then yeah, we're gonna have to have those conversations that I'd rather not have, because it's going to lead you down a path where you're gonna have to go back to where it all began. And for some of us, the self-hatred that we have that allows us to be a part of this whole self-sabotaging thing that we do, sometimes, not for all of us, but some of us, it starts from childhood. If you are in a home where you're not heard, you're not helped, you're told to be quiet, your attempts to be open is futile, and when you even just try to express yourself overall, it is met with just this attitude of, can you get out of my face? Can you just go elsewhere? When you grow up, sometimes in situations like that, it plays a part on our self-worth or self-esteem or self-confidence, self-respect. And I don't think it is fair for anyone to be a part of that. But when you already have that at home, and then you have society telling you that, hey, you're nothing if you present yourself this way, and if you're here, then you're also nothing. If you're there, you're definitely nothing. And if you're around people in an environment that you can't really control during your childhood, where everything that is being reflected is so negative, then of course you're gonna find yourself just stripping away at yourself. Like, who am I? What do I even want to represent? Should I represent something? Is there meaning to my life? Is there a purpose for me here? And unfortunately, so many people, we have that in common. So many of us, it's a familiar thing. It's a familiar feeling. It's a familiar moment. But we brush it off. We put our best foot forward. And I guess we just try to cope with the reality. Some of us, the coping mechanisms that we develop, they're not necessarily healthy. But I mean, I can't tell you how to cope when that's your upbringing. That's my upbringing. That's our upbringing. So there is not one method that just works. So yeah, to journey from the point where you feel like nothing, you present yourself as nothing, you doubt everything about you, you shun any form of positivity that comes your way because, well, I'm nothing. Then of course, when it comes to the point where you have to love you, you're not going to want to do that. You're not going to want to go back to those memories that you had to tuck away so you could survive. I know that I don't want to. But we can't just be surviving. anymore. This time around, we gotta live, you know? We gotta know us. We gotta deal with the things that makes us sick to our stomach. We gotta deal with the things that you don't wanna cry about, but you probably might. We gotta deal with who we are. And it's not my intention to trigger you. But what I want to say is, while you may not have any control over the situation that you were born into, you definitely have control over how you present yourself going forward. And I personally know that sometimes I started this self journey where I try to heal, and I'm just like, no, I can't do that. I can't revisit those places. Like, I can't go back to that red door. In fact, I don't even know where the key is. But you know where the key is. I know where the key is. No matter how many times I've dug it up and buried it somewhere else, I always know where it is. Even when I try to hide it from myself, I know where to find it. I know where to find the key to open that door that has to deal with me coming to terms to heal and to love who I am and to walk in that light and to present myself like I know who the fuck I am. You know, society plays a role. I get it. But you're smart enough to know that you didn't deserve that, but it already happened. So you're just gonna give up just like that? You're just gonna tap out? You're just gonna roll over and let life just fuck you? No condom? Raw? Why? Or do you prefer if you select the lube and, I guess, make it easier, right? If you can just cushion the fall, right? I don't know. I guess I'm asking you. Because for me, my story does not end like that. I am gonna fight for me. Because, okay, maybe no one else did. It's not really their job to fight for me. The key word is me. And the last time I checked, there was just one me. And so I know that there is just one you. And though we might have similarities, that's not all that we are. You know, we screw up. We have amazing days. We have crazy days. We have days when we can't even stand ourselves. Okay? Cool. But did you know that you're absolutely wonderful? And I would really like to get to meet you. The real you. You know, that you are when like no one else is watching. Those vulnerable moments when you can't keep it in anymore, so you do the ugliest cries that you could possibly think of, that you don't even want to look in the mirror because ew. That's the person I want to meet. Because with that person, I want to hold their hands and I want to say, we can do this. We can change this. We don't need to be what life, well, not even life. We don't need to be what society says. We don't need to be throwaways. We don't need to be less thans. We don't need to be nothing. Why does a bunch of people get to say how you're supposed to turn out? Like, okay, in a moment when I was a kid and I could not do better for myself, I got the shitty end of the stick. But now that I'm grown, I don't need a sob story. I don't need a pity story. I don't need to fit inside your storybook. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna accept everything about me. I'm gonna forgive the things that I can forgive. And I'm going to see that the beauty that I originally knew I had from day one is there, still there. So when we sabotage ourselves because the kid version of us was treated unfairly, treated poorly, treated like shit, why does the kid version of you still get to show up and make adult decisions for you? To tell me the answer to that, because I really don't know. I know healing, growing, I know it's not fun. I know it comes with a lot of shedding. I know sometimes when you take the journey so seriously, you lose a lot of people, a lot of things, a lot of moments that you really wanted to grab onto and drag with you everywhere you go. But you know what? You can't. So why do you keep draining your soul to fit in? Because a bunch of people who were supposed to care for you, who were supposed to nurture you, who were supposed to show up for you, who were supposed to be your village, they failed you. So you just believe that you're a failure and you just remain stuck. Why? You have the say-so over your life. So I get it. I get that you are a little bit vulnerable right now. I get that you already went through it. You don't want to revisit it. I'm not asking you to revisit it. But you see that kid version of you that got all of those crappy deals? You just left them there. You abandoned yourself just the same. You are so mad at these people for abandoning you, but you're doing the same. And I get it. Learned behavior, patterns, you know, cognitive biases. But if you know what it's like when the world gives up on you, why are you giving up on you then? Why don't you create your own world where you're surrounded by people who actually want to show up for you, actually want to be there, situations that actually can happen, beautiful ending to your story? Why are you just tossing that because a bunch of people did that to you? You know how it feels, so why are you doing it to yourself? I know it hurts, and I know you didn't deserve it, but you're grown now. So how about you allow the grown version of you to take you to the places where your heart desires? But you gotta forgive you. Gosh, there's so much that you gotta talk about with yourself. There's so much that you gotta do. But I know you can do it because you have a strength where even if you tried to delete yourself, you couldn't even follow it through, because that's not really the ending you want. That's not the pain that you really want to stop. So even if your coping mechanisms include smoking or drinking or taking pills or taking edibles to numb it all, once it wears away, it comes back. I think if you allow your sobriety to take control, you'll see that all those moments that you thought you were gonna crash, no, they were just figments that you created up here so that you don't have to do the work that needs to come from in here. I can't tell you how to deal with your pain, but I know that you have the kind of tired that sleep does not fix. And no matter how strong you make your alcohol, you won't forget it. And no matter how high and the type of high that you chase, it won't erase it. Because you gotta do the work. You have to learn to love you. Crazy, right? Sure, you can pretend. But when you're alone, where no one can see you, you go right back to that version of you where you felt the most abandoned. And you wonder why you deserved it. And you try to search for every answer. But you won't find it. You won't find it. Not at the bottom of a bottle or at the opening of medication. You can only find it when you reopen that red door, that little prison that gives you mental torment. That's where it is. But when you open that door, everything that you hid and you stuffed in there and you claim to have parted ways with, it stares at you, doesn't it? Yeah. So I will respect you, but only when you start respecting yourself enough to do the work. It's gonna take some time, and there are days when you're probably gonna try to hide the key again, but you'll know where to find it. No matter what you do, no matter all the skeletons that remain, you know where the key is. So I'd like for you to start forgiving yourself so we can move from the self-hatred and the self-sabotage and the low self-esteem and the low self-confidence to the part where you realize that you're amazing all along. And though you may have wanted validation from some people who you made important in your world that didn't make you important in theirs, you're still standing. And that has got to be worth something. So I'll leave you to think about that. I don't mean to trigger you. I don't mean to reopen wounds, but we got some work to do. And it'll be really dope if I get to meet you. The real you. The whole you. I don't care. So what if we got demons? But there becomes a time when you can actually lay those demons to rest, you know. I know that sometimes we make friends with our demons because, I mean, why not at this point? But what about the angels? What about you? I know you know you're worth it. So, show me. I guess I'll talk to you next time. I probably should have said that my name is Jade. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. It is one of your most valuable possessions. The fountain of youth that a lot of us search for is right here in the present. And I don't know, but I'm kind of stoked to be sharing it with you. Until next time, you have a beautiful rest of your day, okay?